mamas. Welcome back to another episode of the Not Under Mama podcast. I'm Fanisha.
And I'm Ashley. Welcome.
Yes, in all seriousness, y'all, this episode this week that we have for you is basically talking about postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, which are two things that Ashley and I have dealt with throughout our pregnancy journey and even in our fourth trimester, as they would call it, which is the postpartum stage. So, that being said, September is actually Suicide Awareness Month. So that's something that I was not aware of
Nope.
at all.
Not aware.
So September is Suicide Awareness Month. So this episode couldn't have been at a more like timing time. Okay. So me and Ashley have pulled together some great statistics for you to basically go along with our experiences that we have had, not only as mothers, but as African American women. So, as we know, us as Black women go through a lot when it comes to the pregnancy portion and also the like wellness portion of our
Yeah.
pregnancy journey. So, Ashley, you can go ahead and get started, my girl, and tell the folks what you have for us and your journey.
Okay, y'all. So I want to first start off by saying, there is a distinct difference between postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, and they overlap. But you can also have postpartum anxiety and I have postpartum depression and vice versa. So let's see. Let's jump on with some factoids
Give us
for
the
us
fact.
out here. So the Cleveland Clinic has differentiated it to what's the difference between postpartum anxiety and postpartum depression. If you have postpartum depression, y'all, you may experience excessive sadness, frequent crying, or you feel like you can't take care of yourself or your baby. You may have trouble finding joy in your baby, or you feel like you're incapable of being a parent. Postpartum anxiety is associated with excessive worrying, not with sadness. If you feel panicked or overwhelmed with fearful thoughts, you may be suffering from postpartum anxiety. And I wanted to start there because I am in the middle of going through postpartum anxiety. I am not through it. I have not been over the hill. I am right in the thick of this shit, y'all. And it is kicking my ass. Postpartum anxiety affects between 11% and 21% of people designated as female at birth. Again, this is from the Clinic Cleveland. The Cleveland Clinic. I always do that, y'all. I get those two mixed up. So yeah, just to talk a little bit about what's been happening with me. So I should start by saying that I'm not traditionally an anxious person, right? Before getting pregnant, I just, I had faith in myself and my abilities. And if issues were to arise, then I could handle them. I could take care of them. There wasn't really any overall overacting imagination when it comes to anxiety. And of course I had, this normal anxiety like everyone would have, like, for a presentation, or maybe anxiety about being a new person or something unknown happening. I don't know. It's just run-of-the-mill anxiety before I was pregnant. And Fanisha and I were talking about this, and I started to really think about when I started to see the anxiety creep in. And if I'm being honest, like it was even while I was pregnant. I mean, I was more depressed and anxious while I was pregnant, but there was like these little things starting to creep in, worries about my baby's future. Worries if my baby was going to be born healthy, because as many of y'all know, I have fibroids. I wasn't sure if he would even, be born full, like to make it to full term. Or if he was going to make it, if he were going to be born without any kind of defects or disabilities, because the fibroids take up so much space in my uterus. So I had those anxieties, and they were scary but manageable. I would talk to my doctor, talk to my girlfriends, and it would be like, no, you're okay, you're fine. We're going to keep this train going to as long as we can. You're good. And so my fears were alleviated. But then, y'all, I had Jabari, and what started off as like like a little blip has turned into an iceberg. Like it really, like you see the tip of the iceberg sticking out of the water, and like beneath this is huge monolith of ice. That is where I'm at right now. Like the tip of the iceberg is what you see me like functioning right now. But underneath that is this underlying anxiety like my kid is in the next room and I am afraid of something bad happening to him, even when we're in the same house, maybe he's being watched by my mom, who is who's a terrific mother, and my dad's up there, my niece, so he's protected, my baby's surrounded, but I have these anxieties, y'all. And at their worst, I think someone is breaking into my home to steal my baby. I could be driving in my car with my baby in the back, and I'm thinking someone's going to open up the door and take him away from me. It's actually borders on paranoia, like these types of things,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
paranoid behavior, like these things are gonna befall, like make like harm to your baby. And again, at the height of my anxiety, I'm afraid to be alone with with Jabari, because I'm afraid, like, what if I slip and fall on in the shower and I break my neck and I'm unable to get to my baby and he's wailing, he's alone, and it's just the two of us, like those
Right.
things, like these things that could happen but most likely will not happen, right?
Right.
That's like I'm like in the middle of it right now, and it's a real struggle. It's a real struggle between like the side of my brain that's like everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be fine, versus the other side like, oh no, something's gonna seriously harm your baby. And I am looking for a therapist right now to help me deal with this, because I is critical. I'm not sleeping well. I can't concentrate on most days, so that's where I am at, Phoenicia, friends, in the
Okay,
podcast verse. That's where I'm
friend.
at right now. My postpartum
Yeah.
anxiety. This shit is real,
It's a
and it
thing.
is happening right now. And I'm working through ways to like get back on track to be healthy.
Yes. That's the thing. Like mental health is, oh my God. Ugh. Mental health is like a never ending cycle of like uncertainties, because
Girl.
you can have good days, you can have bad days, like days like that's where you legit just feel like you are drowning in despair and sorrow.
Yep.
And that's legit how I was feeling while I was pregnant. And just from the like very beginning, immediately, like when I found out I was pregnant, of course, to me, I was like, shit, I don't want to have this baby. Like, I'm not
Mm.
in a place to have a baby right now. This ain't really on my agenda. I wasn't planning on having no kids at 31. Well, I was 30 at the time, but yeah. So it was a shock to me, because I was like, bitch, I'm fucking pregnant. Like, what? Like, I'm pregnant. Like, I don't understand. And first things first, I definitely contacted the person. And when I contacted this person to tell them that I was pregnant, like his response was just, it made me feel like the scum of the earth. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't even like the best response, or any type of response that a woman would think that she would get when she told someone that she was pregnant. Like, it was just, yeah, that really
Mm.
started the entire cycle, because then I started to feel like, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and move forward with this abortion. So calling around, trying to get an appointment for this and that or whatnot. But then talking to my good friend of mine's, she basically said, take your time to think it through and think about it before you make the decision, because one thing you don't want to do is make a decision off of impulse. And that is so true. So I took my time, but I still like kind of had things in line in regards to like wanted to move forward with the abortion. So that was on the back burner for now. So then, I mean, moving forward, fast forward, I decided to keep my baby. Okay. And
Spoiler alert.
right. Hello. Okay. So I decided to keep my baby. And it's crazy, because when they say the first time you see and hear a heartbeat, it literally changes your entire perspective on things. And not to be funny or try to bring try to bring ignorance to the situation. But it's like, if I would have known that, I would have not gone to get an ultrasound. Like, I would have not gone to get any of that.
Girl, that is the realest shit you've ever said, right?
Like,
Girl.
for real, if I would have known that attachment literally would have came the exact moment that I heard my baby's heartbeat, I definitely, like, I would have said, fuck it, I'm not going to get no damn ultrasound. I'm not going to get no type of women's exam or anything like that. But of course, I mean, I believe when you actually do the abortion process, they do allow you to, like, hear the heartbeat, I believe.
Right.
I think something like that, or it's probably towards the end when they actually show you that the process has started and the baby's heartbeat starts to like slow down. Like that shit would have
Oh.
killed me.
Mm.
Exactly. Like the thought, like I don't know, like I've never been through the process of having an abortion, anything like that. Now, granted, now Ashley, you don't even know this, but I've had a miscarriage before.
Oh,
But
babe, I didn't know that at
it was
all.
like a very like early on like miscarriage. So I was 16 years
Mm.
old, child, and I believe I was like 2 weeks pregnant or something like that. And I had a miscarriage, but I thought that it was, like a regular like cycle because it was blood. It was bleeding, whatever. But it wasn't like a horrible
Oh
experience
gosh.
that's
Yeah.
associated with miscarriage. But so yeah, child, it's like in dealing with all of that, and then now coming to the realization, okay, well, shit, I'm pregnant, like for real, this time. Like I took a pregnancy test, like I
Yeah.
know, and moving forward, having that ultrasound, and then starting to try to include the dad in the picture, that's where my depression really fell into place in regards to my pregnancy. I was already depressed before I got pregnant because I was dealing with homesickness, and then I was also dealing with imposter syndrome and trying to figure out what the fuck do I want to do with my life right now. Because granted,
Yeah.
girl, I done made this move to Arizona. I done took this like courageous ass move and this risk, and I done picked up every fucking thing that I had to my name and moved it to Tucson. And I still feel like I'm not enough. So, like, dealing with all of that, and then on top of that, girl, you found out you're pregnant.
Yep.
What the fuck is going on right now?
Right. Right.
I just had all of these plans, and I'm thinking, shit, I was about to like move to Phoenix. I was about to do this and that and that. I was about to do more stuff with my job. And now all of that stuff is on hold because now it's not just me I'm thinking about, it's this little person. So I'm trying to include the dad on everything, and he's just being a complete dick from start to finish. And I just kept trying to, keep that door open, in hopes that something will happen. But then, me being me, if you don't step up to the plate, bitch, I'm gonna step up 10 times more.
Hello.
Because
Hello.
like I didn't have time to waste on you. And granted, while I was in Arizona at that time, if I wanted to get an abortion, we could only get it up to 14 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this was still in that time when I was thinking, okay, so what are the pros? What are the cons? I can still get the abortion, but whatever. So in deciding to keep the baby, that puts everything in overdrive. Now I'm just like, I have to get back to Houston. So I have to find a way to get all my shit back to Texas. I have to find a way to get all my appointments in and make sure that I'm good before I get back home. Like even just that and dealing with the OB situation, like I wasn't able to see an OB until I was 3 months pregnant. And that within itself was a stressful situation because I kind of felt like the people who I had before or prior to my OB that I finally found, it was just like there was no bedside manner. Like
Right.
they didn't necessarily know how to address pregnant women. They didn't know how to care for pregnant women. And it just seemed like it was another day on the job for them.
Right.
Like, granted, I mean, for my situation, I was probably like, bitch, I'm ready to get this shit over with. Like, just tell me what the fuck is happening. I can get the fuck up off this bed. But to anybody else, who I've been there and was like, I've been trying to get pregnant like for the longest, and this is finally happening. And you sitting up here treating the shit like it's just like another ultrasound.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's the excitement? Where is the like optimism for this person that's laying on this bed here seeing their baby for the first time? Like, I didn't feel any of that with any of my ultrasound techs. And it was even to a point to where I had got a really disturbing call, and somebody was telling me, something about blood count levels or whatever. I think is it your is it HGL levels or H what girl, the
Yeah.
acronym, okay. one of them levels that has to do like with the pregnancy hormone, to find the pregnancy hormone and the percentage of it. So if the percentage is increasing, that definitely means that you're pregnant. If it decreases, that means that you're having a
Yes, yes. I
yeah.
remember I know what you're
Mhm.
talking about now. Yes, like at the very
So
beginning they do these like
yes.
this levels, these
Mhm.
tests. Yeah.
Exactly. So when I was doing all that blood work and stuff, this lady basically calls me and gives me my results. And I was able to answer the phone at the time. So she left a voicemail. And bitch, when I say this woman called and left a voicemail on my phone that was so alarming, basically making it seem like something was wrong. But lo and behold, like she was just telling me, that my levels were, pretty high or whatever. Like I'm not like I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, can you explain? Like it's my first pregnancy. So it's like shit like that. Like that would
Mm-hmm.
make you extremely anxious and it would make you feel like something is legit wrong with your baby because
Right.
you don't know what all these levels mean. Like, what the fuck does it mean that my levels are super high? Like, okay, can you go into more detail? But yeah, girl, like shit like that, that made me more depressed. That made me extremely anxious. But then thank God when I finally found my OB, before I left Tucson, she was amazing. So that was the first time I was able to actually like have a printout of my baby on the ultrasound or whatnot. So I was able to see him and stuff like that. So yeah, girl, like the OB situation definitely contributed to like 50% of my like
Yeah.
depression
Right.
throughout my pregnancy. Like
Right.
it was crazy. And I don't think people understand like we don't come into offices knowing what the fuck to ask.
Hello.
you
Like
know?
it really like, first time mommy really means first time mommy. I hadn't been researching this shit because I hadn't planned on getting pregnant. It's not like I had like this store of information in me.
Hmm.
Like I had been researching for years just on the off chance I did get knocked up. No,
Right.
that's not what happened. I didn't know a damn thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know?
Girl. And
Eh,
it was just so annoying to me. Like I understand every time when you get to the point where they have to ask, like if you're seeing somebody new, they may not know. So they're like, okay, is this your first pregnancy? And I'm like, yes. And then they'll go into detail about things that you may expect, so on and so forth. But then you have some people where it's just like, okay, is this your first pregnancy? And I'm like, yes. And they ask you questions as if you're supposed to know the shit. And I'm
right.
like,
Right. They kind of think like, oh, because you're a mommy or you're gonna be a mom that you all of a sudden have like this wealth of information this automatic that just like just pops up in your brain as soon as you're a mom. Like as soon as you find you're pregnant, you're like, all right, mommy, let's make these decisions. It's like first, stop calling me
exactly.
mommy. And second of all, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Help me out here. You
Hello.
know?
Right.
So
It's crazy, friend.
it is.
It's for us, I feel like being first time moms, there's an allowance of ignorance when it comes to,
I agree.
pregnancy. Like, because we legit didn't know anything about bringing this little person into the world. All we knew was, okay, well, shit, well, what do I do next? Like, I know I have to feed it, but okay. like,
Change
what,
his diaper and shit like
right.
that. And
Like,
you
what else is
know?
going to happen? Like, what about the health aspect of it? What about us? So, in that, let's get to this stat right quick, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, according to the CDC, much like major depression, postpartum depression is a relatively common condition affecting roughly 1 in 8 women. However, the risk is 1.6 times higher for Black women than any other demographic. And
Huh.
basically, postpartum depression can develop due to several causes, including hormonal changes, stress, and anxiety, and even sleep deprivation. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Once again, modern medicine fails Black women, right? Like, of course,
Mhm.
we're most impacted by postpartum depression, and it's like the research is out there, the medical community has admitted this, but like they don't know a damn thing about Black women. It seems right. Like,
Right.
there's all these discrepancies between Black women's health and white women's health
Right.
and these things are real, they exist. Like we are the walking embodiment of these healthcare discrepancies and lack of research on women's bodies, on Black women's bodies, right? And like
Exactly.
there's a lot, and I don't think people understand too. Like this conversation is going to come in a later episode, but there is that stress of raising a Black boy in today's society. We're raising
Mhm.
a Black boy to be like, they're the Black men. And
Right.
so these things, these the effects of racism and inadequate uh, health providers and income disparities, these things have an impact on you. These things really
Right.
do manifest themselves postpartum. And so I'm not surprised that we are like really suffering along in like in a three-wheeled wagon when it comes to postpartum depression. It really is
But this
a
is the thing,
travesty.
though. This is where like advocating for yourself comes in too.
Yes.
Like that's a huge thing. So even throughout the postpartum depression and the anxiety, just advocating for yourself throughout your pregnancy, period, is a huge thing. Because that's one thing that I had to learn how to do for myself during my pregnancy is advocate for myself.
Yep.
When it came to my birth plan, how I wanted to give birth to my baby, I had already had it in my mind, like, God, I really want to be able to have my baby vaginally. That's one thing. Because in doing like the research myself and knowing like what complications can come from, cesareans and then anything else that they may possibly try to do, it's kind of like,
Yeah, you
I
don't
want
want
to
that.
try to, have my baby vaginally or whatnot. So in doing all of that, and then like all the things like from A to Z, child, like how I wanted my room to be laid out. Did I want my baby to have skin to skin contact with me immediately? Did I want an epidural? Did I want them to do
Yeah.
oxytocin? Like
Yeah.
all type of stuff. And granted, no disrespect to any doctors out there, but sometimes y'all be doing the most. Like,
Yes, they do, girl.
listen, because it's like you all tell us that this is our pregnancy and we can definitely like do things as we see fit. But then when we ask you all questions about certain stuff or we have things laid out and we're asking you for your, like, I don't want to say approval, but we're kind of like giving you the okay to say, well, this is my plan. Like, do you have any questions about it? You all come back at us and basically make it seem like, oh, well, that's impossible. Like, I don't think we can do that.
And it's like, what, like then, like, am I gonna have it my way or not? If y'all already have y'all's decision made up, just do the damn thing. Don't be asking me shit. You know?
Exactly. Like I done sat here and did this entire fucking plan, and you gonna sit up here and give me two letters in no? Really? But you're sitting up here asking me what my birth plan is, but you're gonna tell me no.
Girl, you know what? I would say like that the whole birth plan thing, I don't know. Like my birth plan was I had to have a C-section, right? So they were like that's the extent of your plan, but let's do like some little niceties. Let's just throw some shit on the side. Like, do you want a clear curtain to separate you from like be able to see the baby being pulled out? I'm like, I don't fucking care, like clear or not. I don't care, like they make it seem like, well, like,
Curtain from my bathroom for all I care. I don't give a damn.
like the important things. I want the important things. Like they made sure it had skin to skin contact and whatnot, and like who's the person that's gonna be in the room with you? Can they make medical decisions on your behalf? Which was my mom, and of course I let her do that shit.
Yeah.
But it's like there was something. It was kind of like with you. Like they asked me a question, and my team was like, "No, we're not doing that." I'm like, "Why the hell is this on this form?"
Why
It
did you
was
ask? Why is this an option?
right.
See,
It was yes. It was like. Like, listen, I won't be upset if y'all want to take the reins. Okay, I'm a first time mom, but don't play these games with me. Do not have me and like put this emotional investment into these damn questions and
exactly.
y'all being
But
all like, you know,
when you said taking the reins, now let's talk about that. Okay, now them taking over. One thing we don't want to do is for a doctor to think that they have complete control over
true.
the situation if we don't know what's going on. If you're not going to
That's what I
explain,
mean. Yes,
if you're not going to
yeah,
explain to me what the hell that means, I don't want it. Because my doctor low key tried to do me like that. Now, fast forward, y'all. I was talking about my OB here in Houston. Okay, spoiler alert: I moved from Tucson to Houston. Okay, so my OB here in Houston legit tried to like override stuff and tell me things that I needed, but she didn't like explain what those things were to me. Like it was kind of like she expected for me to be a yes woman
mm-hmm.
and not ask because I was a first time mom. So let's address the elephant in the room. Why are y'all taking advantage of first time moms as if
Yes,
we're just like legit the most ignorant people on this earth who don't know anything. Now, granted, like I said, there is a level of ignorance to being a first time mom, but don't sit up here and legit try to make it seem like I don't have a right to know certain things, or I should walk in a room already knowing these things. And if I don't ask, you're not going to address them. Like, what is it?
Right. Right. Where's my right? And you're right. Thank you for clarifying that, Fenisha. Like, right, your doctor needs to take the reins in situations of emergencies, right? Like,
Right.
if I'm bleeding out, there's don't be asking what the hell I should be doing. Like, fix the damn problem, doctor. You know, like don't do this. Don't play these games. But you're right. There are some circumstances where I think doctors, like like you know, the doctor patient relationship is a partnership in a
Right.
sense, right? That's what we need to understand. That's what everyone out there should be understanding if you're listening, especially your first time mom. Think of it as a partnership. It is not because this person is massively educated, they have a say over like every single aspect of how you move your body throughout this pregnancy. That is not what this is at all. And
Right.
especially if you, just to like bring it full circle with this whole discussion we're having of postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, a lot of your anxieties, a lot of your insecurities around pregnancy will be resolved if you speak up for yourself. If you tell doctor, hey, you know
Yes.
what? You do not
Yes.
want to go home at night, laying your head on the bed, think I should have said this, should have said that. And here it is, be another 4 fucking weeks before I see this doctor again for a checkup. No, a lot of your anxieties, it would be put to rest if you realize it's a partnership between you and your doctor and you still have a say over what goes on with your body. And I kind of feel like I don't know if I told you this when I was here. I actually switched doctors like 2 months out from my C-section date. Did I tell you about this?
Now, I was trying to do the same shit, y'all. I was trying to get the fuck rid of my OB, okay? Like, I was trying to get
Yes.
rid of her before my
Yeah.
baby got here. But I mean, unfortunately, there's like some type of liability to where,
Yeah.
they don't want to deal with a patient if you're so far along in your pregnancy, because if something were to happen, they don't want to miss anything.
They don't have
So,
your full record because you just moved over to them.
right,
Exactly.
right, right.
Exactly. Girl,
Mhm.
my it was like you talking about like natal anxieties, natal depression. Part of my depression, I think, during pregnancy was the doctor I was stuck with. She was the doctor who had did my myomectomy. So for y'all don't know, myomectomy is when they take the fibroids off of your uterus. And so when I found out I was pregnant, I went back to this doctor thinking like she has my history with the myomectomy, and so she can help deliver this baby. But like I just forgot one key point about this doctor, and it's that she is fucking like flighty. Like she and arrogant too. Like flighty and arrogant. Like she would come into these appointments and stay like literally 3 minutes, right? Like 3 minutes with me.
Hate that
And
shit.
I
But
hate
bitch,
that
I paid
shit.
you. Paid my damn copay. You gonna sit here and
Thank
talk to me.
you. Sit here and talk to me. Like even my mom came one time to see like just to see what we can do about getting this doctor to sit still for fucking 20 minutes to answer some questions. And she did the same thing. She stayed for maybe 5 minutes. Oh, you're okay, Ashley. You're okay. I am a high risk pregnancy, not because of my age, but because I have these fibroids. Sit your ass down and talk to me, okay? So I would leave these appointments not satisfied, fearful, y'all, anxious and scared of the future. And so finally, like my C-section was supposed to happen in March 1st, I went to a new OBGYN at a medical hospital, and they immediately pounced on me. And I mean, pounced in a good way. Like they had a whole team of
Mhm,
women to take
mhm,
care of me. And every single appointment since like I went March 1st, and then I was going every 2 weeks, and then every week, and then multiple times a week.
mhm.
I was sitting with those midwives and doctors for like 20, 25 minutes. Like they were not messing around. They listened to me, listened to
Yes.
my mom. There's an online portal where you can type in questions so that you're not sitting there awake with worry in the middle of the night about your pregnancy. Like you could just type out the questions and they would get back to you in a timely manner. Like these are the types of things that I think made the later half of my pregnancy so bearable,
Yeah.
because y'all know between Phoenicia and I, like we're upfront about this. We hated pregnancy. It was not a
Yeah.
fucking walk in the park. It was the worst thing. And I really do think like going to these new team of doctors to handle like this high risk pregnancy, just it immediately took out like that level of worry. That first doctor I had, she's the reason I think that women and women of color die on operating tables because they are arrogant. Like she's arrogant. She thought that she could, like, there was no team, was just her. And like she was not listening to, I'd be like asking about my fibroids and what they're doing to the baby. And she'd be like, well, yeah, we can't do much about it. I'm like, I know we can't do much about it, but like, I don't want to hear that. Tell me what's going on in there and that my baby is going to be okay. And then when I ask this new team of doctors, these nurses, about what's going on with the fibroids and what's it doing to my baby, they'd be like, you know what? These are the risks, but also keep in mind, where there's life, there's a way. Your baby is going to make a way. And like, that's the shit you want to hear.
Yes.
And again, after struggling with depression and anxiety for a full pregnancy, almost a full pregnancy, like to hear that level of optimism, you're just like, thank you. Like seriously, like I'm laying my head down and I'm getting excited about this whole birthing process finally, all because they wanted to take the time to listen. And I think I trusted my doctors. I lucked out. I trusted them. I ended up trusting them in a way I did not trust my first OB GYN. So yeah, girl, like the doctors are literally half the issue when it comes to dealing with um depression, anxiety, and pregnancy. But we really need to talk about like post, like what happened after
Yeah.
we had, like, I explained my anxiety, but if it's not too much for you, can you tell us how it was for you, Fanisia, like at the height of your depression, postpartum depression, once you had your baby in your arms, like how bad was it for you?
So let's just start with the day I was getting discharged from the hospital. So the day I got discharged from the hospital, I did not leave with my baby. He had to be taken to the NICU immediately after giving birth because he had ingested too much amniotic fluid. Or it's just a fluid that basically fills your stomach when you're pregnant. It's like a lubrication somewhat. And when you give birth, this bag basically like it pops. This is the water that breaks. So he ingested too much of that. And they took him immediately to the NICU. So in dealing with that, I knew my baby was going to be okay. I didn't think anything was going to be, wrong with him, nothing like that. It was just a matter of, dang, like I didn't get the chance to like really cuddle with my baby after he got here, after he was born. Of course, like I saw him, they laid him on my chest for a little bit, but then it's like they took him and like whisked him away. And my mom and my sister were the only two people that really saw him in the NICU until they like got him together and cleaned up. And then that's when I went in to see him. But the day I was getting ready to leave the hospital, I couldn't leave with him. And actually, when I got home later on that night, I broke down crying. Like all the emotions that I felt throughout my entire pregnancy came and they whooped my fucking ass. I was thinking about legit every single thing I went through throughout my pregnancy with this person who didn't basically give a damn about my health. This person who didn't give a damn about my well-being, like the fact that I was even pregnant, like nothing. And basically the only thing that this person was worried about was whether or not my baby was going to have his last name. So you don't give a damn that my baby is in the NICU. He has a feeding tube. You didn't even ask what that feeding tube was for.
Was for
Like nothing. God forbid, like thank you, Jesus, nothing like traumatic happened to my baby. But it's like just seeing him with that feeding tube broke me down. Like, damn, I should have breastfed. Like maybe if I would have breastfed him, he wouldn't need no fucking no fucking feeding tube. Like just thinking about all the stuff and feeling like I failed my baby. And more importantly, I failed as a mother. I failed myself. So I'm at home and I'm just thinking about all the shit is going through my head. And I'm sitting there and I remember asking my mama, like, Ma, do you think I made the right decision? Like, do you think I'm going to be a good mother? Because I don't feel like I'm a good mom right now. I don't feel like it at all. And not to discredit my mom or anything like that. I love my mom to death, but my mom comes from a generation where they don't talk about like mental illness and mental health. They don't talk about therapy. They don't necessarily know how to address certain things without coming off harshly or they don't know how to be as emotionally available as we may feel like our parents should be. And I mean, unfortunately, like my mom didn't really like give me the response that I was expecting. And at this point, when I was asking her that, like I legit just like I was bawling crying at this point. Like I couldn't breathe. Like I was crying myself sick. Like it was snot running down. Like I was losing it. Like I was having a legit breakdown. And the only thing my mom could tell me in that moment was, Fanisha, like, stop crying. I hate to see you crying like this.
Mm.
And it was already hard for me to express, excuse me, it was already hard for me to express how I felt. Like it's already hard for me to legit express my feelings in general on a day-to-day basis. But the one moment where I'm extremely open and
Mm.
vulnerable, the one person who I thought could give me that sense of optimism, that sense of comfort, could only tell me, I don't want to see you cry. Like stop
Don't
crying,
cry. Don't cry.
you know? So that moment within itself really that hurt. And at this point, the only thing that could really bring me joy was the fact that um I had gotten a call from the hospital from or no, I had called the hospital and I had asked them about the status of baby to see how he was doing. And I believe this was the next day, and they told me that everything had cleared up. His lungs were nice and clear. They didn't see anything wrong, and I could get my baby home.
Oh my gosh.
When I say that was the only thing that brought me like joy and happiness within that moment, that was it.
That
I
was
didn't care
it.
about shit else but going to the hospital and picking up my baby. And being in that moment of vulnerability, I don't know. It was just at that moment, you feel like any fucking thing can happen at this moment and I'll break. Like if one more thing happens,
Yes,
like
girl.
I'm gonna fucking like
I'm gonna
lose
lose
it.
my shit. I'm gonna lose my
Right,
fucking shit. Like I really mean.
right,
I'm not being funny. Like it's gonna go downhill from here. I mean, I burned this whole
right.
fucking place down, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So at that moment, that's exactly how I felt. Like if one more fucking thing happens, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. And even just after that, like after getting my baby home and getting adjusted, and that's another thing too. I really feel like people only say that motherhood is hard because they are trying to make the baby adjust to them rather than adjust to the baby.
Right. That's a good point.
And
Yeah.
I say that because you legit like it's this little person and you want them to be on a schedule, quote unquote. You want them to be on a schedule and you want them to do certain things at a certain time. You want to get your rest, but you have to realize like you all are adjusting to each other. It's not just a one-way thing.
Yep.
So I had to definitely like let that shit go. Like there're gonna be some times where I know I'm not gonna get enough sleep, but I'll sleep when I need to. I sleep when I have to
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. But it's just like when I learned to let the shit go and just like adjust to him and let him like direct me and guide me, shit started falling into place. Like I was able to get more sleep at night because God gave me a child that legit does not wake up through the night. How much more luckier could I have gotten with this
Yeah.
baby? Like he doesn't wake up throughout the night. He doesn't need a bottle at night. Like he just falls asleep and he does not wake up until legit like 7 or 8 o'clock the next morning. And boom, we're starting our day. Or he'll
Yes.
go back to sleep. But yeah, like I just legit had to learn how to let that go. So that definitely helped with the depression and things like that. Just learning how to let go of certain shit and letting go of this damn perfection or this
Mm-hmm.
sense of perfection that people try to put on first time moms, or really, I don't want to say perfection, but pressure that people
Pressure.
put on first time moms when it comes to things. Like I understand giving advice, but sometimes that shit needs to be like kept away. Like, don't give me no more fucking advice at this point because you're not helping, you're hindering me. And I'm already on edge. My anxiety is already through the roof. And
Hello.
you sitting here telling me about something else that I need to be doing for my baby, or the fact that me not breastfeeding is why my baby is having these problems. If you don't get the fuck out of my
Oof.
face,
Oof. Yeah. Ew. That's a reason why I had to like stop going and like reading, like look at the mommy blogs and the mommy like Instagram
yes,
posts,
girl.
because
Yes.
that shit has my anxiety like okay, so check it. Like as Black women, we put pressure on ourselves. We already have to outperform like our white
Mhm.
counterparts. We're constantly like having to outperform even the most mediocre person. So if you're walking to a room with a Black woman, most likely she is excelling and doing 15 different things at once you don't even know about, because that's what we are. We just handle business, and we take care of things, and we're professional and we're on point. And then add that, that's the pressure we already putting on ourselves. Then add
Right.
that pressure and expectation of being a first-time mom, and people giving you unsolicited advice, and you feel like you're going to pull your hair out. I had to stop listening to the mommy blogs and the mommy podcasts, because they it really is this undertone on those blogs of like, you're a terrible mom, you're messing up your child for life if you don't, feed your kid organically, raised in the
Girl.
sun, fed with tears of unicorns, kale, like, you're the worst fucking mom. What do you mean you don't give your kid unicorn juice every night? You fucking loser mom. Like, you're like, am I a loser? I'm a fucking terrible mom for not giving my kid unicorn juice every night. Like, you go to bed with that shit. Oh, if you think about that shit, it's on your fucking heart and your mind. So, like, I'm with you, girl. Like, man, shut the fuck up. If you don't, just tell me I'm doing a good job. That's all I want to hear from you. If I ask you for
Exactly.
advice,
That's
okay,
it.
but don't, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I
Right.
can't, you know?
Listen, and I'm telling you, for somebody who's already going through the situation and not feeling like they're adequate enough, you're just like putting like more shit on top of the shit that we're already drowning in. So it's just like dealing with that, dealing with the unsolicited advice and stuff. Like eventually, I just became numb to everything, and I started to dissociate myself from a lot of people, a lot of like friends who I used to talk to. I don't really talk to them anymore. Like it's just a lot of transitioning. That's the thing. Like I was
Yeah.
going through transition after fucking transition after fucking
Mm-hmm.
transition. And it's like I became pregnant and a mom at a time where I was legit going through a fucking life transition. And now I have the biggest of the biggest fucking transitions happening right now at this moment and trying to live this new life as a mom. So people really just do not understand the pressure that comes with that. Like the pressure that you put on yourself, because now you know you're not only responsible for you, you're responsible for this person. So that's one thing that I was really worried about. I was like, fuck, I don't want my baby to be born into depression. Like
Yes,
I don't want my
girl.
baby to feel these things, like not even just in the womb but outside. Like for a moment I wasn't even emotionally attached to my baby. Like that was one thing that really hurt me the most too. Like during my pregnancy and after my pregnancy, sometimes I would not be emotionally like available or present with my baby. I would still be in a daze and somewhere else in a different like world, thinking about other things. Like my mind was so towed up, I couldn't even fathom the fact that I have this little person that's laying next to me in this bassinet, just living his best life, sleeping peacefully, while my mind is like going 1,000 miles per hour, and I don't even know if I'm gonna be alive the next day. It got so bad to where I did not want to be here. Like I felt like I was better off dead. I did. I felt like I was better off dead. And the only
Oh my
thing
gosh,
that really
friend.
saved me, the only thing that saved me from not like moving forward with taking my life was knowing that my baby would have to be without his dad and his mommy. So that's the thing. So, it's like I'm taking on this. Well, I don't want to say I'm taking on his load because I can't be a father to my baby. I don't know what the fuck that takes.
Right.
But it's just another like heightened level of like responsibility for this baby. And I have to be mommy. I only know how to be a mom. I can't be a dad to my baby, but thank God that he has a support system and a tribe that stepped up and has stepped in. Like he has amazing godparents who look after him and give him the world child. Like whenever they want to come and see him, whenever they want to come and take him for a weekend, I don't say, like, I don't even think twice. Sure, you can come over and see him. Sure, he can spend a night with you. Like, because I trust you. Like, there's a reason why I made you his godparents. And that's another conversation we got to have, child. Like, godparents. Like, you have to have people surrounding you who you know are going to have your front, your back, your side, like any angle where they can see you need help. I got you. If you need somebody to talk to, I got you. And thank God I had those people. But it really took for me to have a baby to really figure out who was really there for me
Yeah.
as a
Girl. Girl, that is you know you want to know who your true friends are out there, ladies, non mommy ladies.
Mhm.
Have a baby, and
Right.
you'll see really fast. Like it'll be quickly apparent who is your friend and who isn't. Like I know, listen to you talk, man. I am so like I cannot wait till I get to that point. I have not spent a night away from Jabari yet. I have not. I can't. I just again, this is that anxiety, right? This is why I need to
Right.
like. I'm working with
But
a
it's okay
therapist.
though.
It's just
Take your
like,
time.
yeah, I do need to give myself the time.
Right.
But I do want to get to a point where I have this a healthy, I would say, approach to being separated from him. Right now, the thought
Mhm.
of being separated from him, I'm just like, if I'm going to separate myself from him, then again, that's when the world falls apart, and that's when
Yeah.
I get the baby back in the casket, which is a thought I just can't, just fucking can't.
Yeah.
It's just a bridge
Right.
too far for me to at the moment. That's just it's so again. I am not this person, which is and maybe I am. Like I just that's one thing I tell myself. Like this is where I'm at. This is the fucking season I'm in. I need to respect
Mhm.
that, and I'm not gonna be like a slave to the season forever. But I need to respect like this is where I'm at, and
Flow
then
through it.
and just get through it. Exactly. And like I got to stop being
Flow through it.
so hard on myself. So like I we didn't do a trigger warning, y'all, and we're at the
Oh
beginning of
no, we
this
didn't.
episode. We are so sorry about that because I was like, because Felicia, you were telling like you like I left my baby like I left the hospital without my baby, and I was like I don't think I can hear this. I don't think I can do this right now. I almost
Um,
cried listening to your story, friend. I'm so sorry. Like I'm just like I want to hold my friend. Like oh my god. I hate that you had to go through that. I'm like, I don't know if I can hear
yeah.
this story and shit like that. Like, this is like, girl, like,
It was a lot. I mean, it's still a process. Like that's why when anybody asks me, like legit, like how am I feeling from day to day? Like how do I feel? And I just tell them like it's literally a day by day process. I'm taking
yeah,
it day by day because no day is the same. I can't tell you, that I'm extremely happy at this point or whatever because I mean, I'm not, but I mean, thank God for medication as well. Like we don't talk about that enough.
nope,
Like being okay with being on medication when it comes to your mental health. Because I for sure that was the last thing on my mind was getting on medication when I was going through my depression stages or whatever. Even during pregnancy, my doctor prescribed me medicine for anxiety because I told her the shit that I was going through with sperm donor. So I told her about that and she was like, okay, listen, if you would like, I have this option for you if you want to try this. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, not right now. But it wasn't until I was literally at my wits' end and I was like, okay, Fanisha, you need to come to the realization that you can't try to do everything by yourself. It is okay. Like there are ways to help counteract your
yep.
depression while also being on this medication. So I decided to tell my OB, like, okay, I'm gonna move forward with the medication. What do I have to do? So got on the medication, and so far everything is amazing. Like I feel amazing. I feel optimistic. I feel hopeful. Same thing. Don't. Yeah.
Oh, girl,
I,
please. No, we like synonyms around here. Go ahead, girl. Do all the synonyms. Optimistic, hopeful, positive, cheery.
I feel hopeful. Like I feel all of those things. Like that medication was the best decision I have made in my postpartum journey. Was to decide to get on medication because now I feel like the clarity that I needed, I have that now. I'm able to legit like zone in and see things without having so many fucking like self-inflicted voices in my head and things telling me you can't do this, things saying you're not worthy of this, things saying you're a horrible mom, things saying you do need the dad, things saying that you can't make it without him. Like, girl, like all the shit. It literally like just it has subsided. Like right now, when I say like I can see the fucking end and the light at the tunnel, I can see it. And
Oh,
any
okay, that's good.
Anybody who is legit like listening to this podcast and you're afraid of being on medication, just know that one thing I'm gonna say is do your research. If they tell you about a certain medication that they want to put you on, research it for yourself first before you agree to be on a medication. Look at the side effects. All medication comes with side effects,
Yep.
regardless if people want to believe it or not. I mean, with my medication I'm on right now, it makes me sleepy. So I know that I need to only take it at night. And if I take it during the day, bitch, I ain't gonna be able to get nothing done. But if you take it at night, just know that sometimes you may have a little bit of a headache. Sometimes you may have grogginess or whatever. But eat a little light meal before you take it and you are good. Like things like that. Like a lot of times people don't tell you how to counteract certain symptoms to medication. And
Yeah.
then it's like you're stuck with these fears and these worries and nobody is telling you like there's a way to get around that. Like don't be scared of the medication, and I know people are scared to get on it as well because you feel like you're going to be extremely dependent on it. But that's why for me, I did the lowest dosage
Yeah.
possible. And with the lowest dosage possible, hell, I'm seeing like a complete 180 and I'm just on 25 milligrams. That is the smallest dosage of this medicine that I'm currently taking. So, and just imagine at what it can do for you if you decided to go this route. I mean, if y'all want more information about it, child, y'all can hop in my DMs and I'll tell you. But just
Yes.
know that medication is an amazing, amazing alternative and an amazing thing if you want to utilize that throughout your mental health journey. So, yeah, child, like medication for me, the one thing that I was so against is the one thing that's keeping me on top of this ground right now.
Oh my, you know what? That's such a hopeful thing to hear because I'm as soon as possible when I see my PCP, I'm like, I need an anti not depressant, an anti anxiety pill. That's exactly what I need.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I like this part of our conversation because like you're moving into what I wanted to talk about too. Is like, you know, we there's like a pretty heavy episode talking about postpartum depression and things that have like led to this, and then you know our anxieties, but there's also a moment in time where you know you have to heal, and we're both in like in these
Mhm.
processes. And I liked how you brought up the medicine, like take the damn pill, y'all, because as much as you know as much chitter chatter as there is around like you know like putting foreign objects into your body, that shit works. You know, that shit
Yeah,
fucking works. And like you said,
definitely.
it keeps you going another day. But I also wanted, you know, to acknowledge as well that you know, be kind to yourself. I just did it just now where I wanted to talk shit about myself, and I was like, you know what? Respect the season that I'm in. Be fucking kind to yourself. Like we said earlier,
Yeah.
there's all types of information being thrown at you, and there's people making you who are going to make you feel shit about being a mother, whether you're booed up, whether you're single, right? And like but we have to give ourselves the leeway to like really
Give yourself room.
give yourself room, understand where you're at, and just give yourself the fucking room. That also means some of us got to like cut some folks out of our lives, and
Yes,
you know I like
family included.
yeah. And that girl, I just wanted to say too, like you know, like y'all, this stuff right here. Like we ain't let it break us. We're not gonna let it break us. We're gonna
We're not
keep
gonna break our souls over here, okay?
we're gonna get through this shit, y'all. That is the one thing I have noticed about like coming out at the end of like my pregnancy, a terrible pregnancy, to getting to where I'm at right now, even dealing with postpartum anxiety. Like I I have realized that, you know, as much as there is about Black women, us being resilient and us always having like keep our chin up through like bullshit, there is something to be said about like being able to get back up on your two fucking feet. Yeah, I was down for a minute. I had to rest for a minute. I was laid out on my side for a minute, but y'all, I'm back on my 2 feet, and that's why I'm proud of
Right.
myself for like getting through this. Like, and again, it's always a journey. It is always
I
gonna
know,
be that.
friend.
But like, thank you, thank you. Because there are those moments where I just like I just don't want to get out of bed. I just don't want to cook. I just don't want to clean. Like, I had those deep moments, but I am so proud of how far I've come um, in this journey. You know, scary as it is. You know, I'm back on my feet and keep going. Shit. You know,
Yes, we move.
we move, girl. Hello,
We move.
hello. I mean, the Dusties can stay their raggedy asses back there because they ain't shit, never gonna be shit, you know. But like, we fucking move.
There we go.
We gotta keep moving forward. That's what I'm gonna do for my baby, you know, more for him than for myself. But yeah,
Child.
me
Two
too.
mothers just trying to figure the shit out.
Y'all know the tagline. Y'all know the tagline. We're just trying to figure this shit out. You know, that's what we're doing. That's and like, you know, we were talking about this too, Phoenicia. Fuck the haters. Like, a lot of y'all seem to have opinions about single moms and single motherhood, but you know, we ain't going nowhere.
Girl, I'm
Shit,
thriving.
we're here. Shit,
This is the best thing.
we're here.
This is the best thing, the best experience ever. And I would not trade it for the fucking world.
No, not at
Like,
all. No,
no
even
matter
no.
how bad I felt like initially about the situation and being a single mom, like this
Right.
couldn't have been the most like the situation couldn't have gotten any better. I'm just gonna put it like that. Like it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Like you never know what your strengths are until you legit have to be responsible for another human being.
Yeah.
That's just like that's how I see it. Like
Right.
there's no way.
And I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I thought I would have this huge like feeling of FOMO. I
Yes.
do not. I do not. I just feel like I can't believe I'm like one of these like, you know, women who is like all about my baby. Super hyper independent. Both Phoenicia and myself, we're very independent women. Like we that's I think that's been established like it's partly how we like recognize each other, right? How we see each other. We see that in each other because we see it, we have it in
For
ourselves.
sure.
But like I cannot believe how like I had this little gremlin who was like attached to me, and I'm just all like, well, yeah, of course, like that's my baby. Of course I want him attached to me, and of course I'm like I want to spend time with him and I want to be with him. Like on the other side, this anxiety and depression has been like this whole adventure with this person who I fucking love and who I just like I would do, you know, as much anxiety as I have about like having to like get into situations where I have to fight for him, I'd fucking do it in a heartbeat. Like there's that mama bear inside me that's ready to like tear someone apart who's like who wants to harm him. Like, you know, and I like a good argument too. So I'm just like, yes, I'm waiting for it. You know, I don't know. These have just been it's been a great experience. I just want to reiterate, y'all, that this like the things that you were going to, especially for my mamas who are new mamas, whether you just read out the pregnancy on a test on a stick or you had your baby yesterday, you know what, you hang in there, you keep your head up, you believe in yourself, be kind to yourself, ask for help when you need it. And these are just seasons, y'all. These are just seasons that we're going through and we're going to get through them.
All right, mamas, that is it for this week's episode of the Not Another Mama podcast. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. If you are listening on your favorite streaming platforms, whether that be Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to follow the podcast there and leave us a review, please. Let us know how we're doing. We really want to know if these episodes are conducive to you and where you are right now, or even if you just like the entertainment factor, child, because these episodes might be serious, but we really crazy behind the scenes. So,
we laugh a lot, but y'all, we really do.
We laugh a lot. We have fun here. So yes, please just let us know how we're doing. This is a fairly new podcast, so we just want to know, like, is this helping you? Let us know what topics you want to talk about, y'all.
Yes, what resonates with y'all? Please let us know.
Let us know, okay? Let us know, child. But with that being said, thank you all so much for chiming in. And this is Tanisha.
And this has been Ashley.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, loves.